lower end of the pre-LCS power rankings. And FlyQuest trying to make a name for themselves here in game number 2. They're actually going to be the ones banning out Kha'Zix this time on the blue side.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and take out the Kha'Zix, take out the Ryze as their first and second bans. Meanwhile, Team EnVy kind of just playing the hand that they're dealt as the red side banning phase number 1. The LeBlanc, the Rengar both going to be banned away. And I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar that if Camille is not banned off by FlyQuest for whatever reason, EnVy's going to be taking that one out.
Most definitely. I would expect FlyQuest to go for another target ban and EnVy have to do the Camille duty and ban her out as well, because I'm going to want to see balls on that champion. And Jace is going to be the FlyQuest answer, as they want to make a small adjustment. As we talked about, that one point of weakness there for them in the last game was that Seraph was bullying pretty hard and getting a fairly substantial CS lead. So pretty much all going to expect it here so far.
Yeah, take out the Jace, get rid of the thing that was causing you trouble, that thorn in your side, just pluck it out. Be good going forward. Camille is going to be banned away by EnVy, and FlyQuest goes ahead and picks up that highly contested top-tier support that was banned away last time.
Good pickup here for EnVy and Answer as well. Yeah, that Zyra did go over to FlyQuest very early on and is a huge bully, and Lemon is one of the players that kind of pioneered the champion along with Sneaky on the Ashe back in his Cloud9 days. But Team EnVy, I really like their answers so far in the pick ban. Stealing away the Moakai from balls, grabbing that tank after the Jace is already banned, and then getting one of the top tier AD carries, getting that Varus just so they know they can dictate the role. They can pretty much make FlyQuest pick this Ashe, because if you don't answer, again, remember, the AD carry role is one of those ones that's a little bit thinner at the top, and the second ban phase, you can really start to whittle it down.
And it's interesting how you can force your opponents into these kind of avenues that you want them to play to, with the way that the new pick and ban works, with the way that you now have more banning opportunities in the middle of the draft. So it means you don't go in with a concrete plan and say, all right, we're going to do this. You don't cookie cutter it, right? You adapt more so to every single pick and ban phase. Moon's going to be locking in that Ashe, and High, once again, going to be soaring through the skies on that Corki he did so well with in game number 1.
He was definitely flying high with Corki last game, and he's blind picking it again, so still confident there. The Elise, we haven't seen a tremendous amount of it. However, she's so good on the current patch. So many, especially in solo queue, highest rated challengers, a lot of very high play rates on Elise, especially over in Korea. There were adjustments to Leandri's Torment, where guys in Torment are very good early pickups on her. I'm really loving early magic penetration builds for her. That definitely has huge potential to snowball a game. So this is a promising, start here for Team EnVy. If Ninja does play Elise well, which is, it's a champion that you need to put some time in on. There are a lot of small mechanics that can make the difference between a great Elise and just a good Elise. That is a champion where Ninja can really have a good impact.
And that's what we want to see out of him, even in the off role. Like we talked about last game, it's an expected weakness coming into this series, coming into this game. But if they can shore that up, then they might have a good shot at coming back here in game number 2. Now, that second banning phase that we were talking about earlier, in case you missed it in game number 1, that does occur after the first 6 picks have been completed. And those second round of bans are going to be taken care of with Syndra and Misfortune removed by FlyQuest, taking out a power mid laner and that counter pick to the Zyra support. And then Rek'Sai and Lee Sin taken off the table by EnVy, just getting rid of a couple of those good junglers.
Exactly. This is what happened when you have those desynced roles in the first pick phase. EnVy here are trying to flip the table here on Moon and target him, because he's now getting pushed pretty far down the list. Now maybe he even delves deep into his champion pool, where he's a guy who's super comfortable and known for things like Evelynn that are not high tier champions for jungle, right? But if most of them are getting banned out and the Elise is already picked away, maybe he gets pushed down onto something like that. Graves is definitely one of the farmer junglers, so the lanes might have to do a lot more of the setup work. Nautilus can do that just fine. Ashe Zyra can definitely do that. But we might expect a little bit less presence from a Graves around a mid lane that is Corki, because there's no CC from either of those players, coming into effect. So that actually might relieve some pressure on Alex this time around and allow Alex to have a bit better of a game.
And that could be exactly what these guys want to see on the side of Envy. Maybe not make it so high can get off to such a phenomenal start. Even if they're still ganking opportunities in other places, it's not for high, right? Meanwhile, Envy, they're going to be finishing off that draft, grabbing themselves the Malzahar. This time, though, we're going to be seeing a mid lane.
Yep, Alex going to take that one up, and that is a tremendous amount of crowd control here on Team Envy. They have huge pick potential with this setup here, as well as a little bit of that siege with the Varus Karma duo lane in the bottom side. We'll see about this early game, though. Balls this time is going to be piloting the Nautilus. Now, Nautilus versus Moakai is probably going to be a matchup that we do see a lot with these tanks up in the top side. Nautilus can pressure him early, get the shove, try and get some harassment down on Moakai, but Moakai is really just, I think, all around just most solid tank there for the top lane right now, and does outscale him and doesn't even get pushed around too heavily in the early game. So probably won't be able to get too much of an advantage there. We'll see. It's really going to come down to the team fighting this time around, I think, as well as timings on those early teleports. So much crowd control in the bottom lane as the new meta is. It's a lot about how much can you gank the bottom lane, how much can you teleport into the bottom lane, because if you get the enemy AD carry behind, they're very useless except for their CC ultimates, and you can get a lot of kills and a lot of drakes off of focusing that area.
Here we go. We're going to be loading on to Summoner's Rift in just a couple of moments for game number 2. The big question, of course, can Envy rally? Can Envy do what Envy needs to do, come back, tie this up, and send us into game number 3? Or is FlyQuest going to make as much of a statement in this second game as they did in game number 1?
Yeah, I mean, definitely have to watch out for it. We'll see about these early moves and keep our eyes on the junglers.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go, jumping on to Summoner's Rift for the second time today for FlyQuest versus Envy round 2. This time, it's going to be FlyQuest in the blue trunks, Envy swinging with the red. And we'll have to see how this ends up playing out, as once again, the level 1 looking pretty tame.
Interesting. So first thing, I am going to, even though Ninja, we're going to give him some breathing room because he's a mid laner, I'm going to critique a lot because he is new to the jungle. A lot of Elise players will start with the machete instead of the talisman, even though talisman is recommended in the shop by Riot as the game, because you can get your W start, you get an auto attack reset, you get a bunch of extra attack speed, and if you start on your blue side, or even if you don't start on your blue side and you move over there quickly, you ensure that your blue doesn't get countered. She's just fine. She doesn't need the extra mana regen. She'll get a blue buff and it'll be just fine anyways. And it does increase your clear speed if you have the machete, and you really don't have to worry about life or HP regen either. That's just a small thing, a little bit nitpicky, and of course he isn't a full-time jungler, so let him off the hook a little bit.
Speaking of worrying about life, bottom side, both supports going to be taking a nasty chunk of damage. You saw Lemonnation actually fall below half very early on there. Needing to go ahead and gobble up one of those biscuits. Hakuho is going to do the same thing, and these guys are not looking to pull any punches early on, even level 1, just vying for that control.
Yep, trading very heavily there, then kiting those minions back. Able to secure most of the last hits. Actually did miss one there, and FlyQuest again get the push on the level 2 here. Should be able to hit that one first. Hai immediately moving over to that important blue buff that we talked about. Gets the ward down, and he'll see Ninja as he transitions over. You can tell that FlyQuest are targeting Ninja because he is a sub, and they're trying to get extra vision on him so that they can... Hai actually has to watch out for those Voidling damage.
This is an interesting development. Flash forward, Alex needs one more! First blood, Envy's mid laner.
6 Voidlings right there. I mean, the one thing about Malzahar is you have to really respect the early Voidling damage, and Hai does not.
He did not at all.
Right there. Just runs head first into Alex, which is exactly what Malzahar wants early. Otherwise, Malzahar is kind of struggling a little bit to CS. He's one of the more famously difficult to CS on mid laners in the early stages before you really get enough points in your E to bounce around and get the executes that way. But man, he goes heads up with the Corki, tanks all the Voidlings, flashes late, and Alex has Ghost. Perfect follow-up and completely different story from game number 1.
And without those summoner spells, now both mid laners are going to be a little bit more vulnerable. Of course, Alex each doubly more vulnerable because no built-in escape mechanism.
Definitely true, and worth keeping your eyes on. We'll see if Hai continues to play aggressively because he was using his W last game to go for constant harassment. As you said, though, nobody has summoners in the mid lane, so lots of wards coming out and probably a lot more farming as Alex was able to get a very nice purchase here. Dark Seal coming in as well, so potential for snowball even.
Alex each feeling confident. Lemonnation going to be forced to flash back. Envy going to grab themselves another summoner spell, this time in the bottom lane. Really flexing those muscles. Lemmonnation's got to be respecting that damage.
Yeah, great check there from Hakuho. Empowered Q there from Karma. Right into another snipe from Apollo, and they got a big chunk right there out of Lemon. On top of this CS lead that they've been able to get on the backswing, they will now have some pressure at the turret and try to 2v1, land that poke. You know, Karma and Varus are very annoying, throwing those skill shots at you while you're trying to CS under your turret. Makes life very difficult for the Ashe player.
Meanwhile, between scrying orbs and hawk shots coming out from Fly, Ninja is having an eye kept on him very thoroughly. They're keeping track of this guy very, very well, making it hard for him to get off to a good start.
And that's the main thing here. In Elise versus Graves matchup, Graves wants to outscale this Elise. As if they keep track of her early on and she doesn't get off these early ganks, she'll lose steam as the game does progress. And Moon right now, he's grinding the jungle, he's farming up, and he's trying to get some of those multipliers going.
Moon hanging around in this top side, seeing if he can make any kind of anything happen with a lane gank, but I'm guessing the answer is going to be no. Gets himself right past that ward and goes back into the jungle. Yeah,
a lot of the early moves from Graves will be clearing most of your jungle and then going for counter gank positioning, right? Not necessarily, expecting something to happen, but being in position for counter ganks is huge because he doesn't really have a lot of initiation, but if you face check him or if you overcommit, he does have a lot of damage that he can bring to try and combat someone who does overextend, especially if it's in a lane where that does have CC like a Nautilus.
Altec going to be forced back in bottom lane now as Apollo and Hakuho continue maintaining control over this, constantly shoving their opponents back, constantly shoving them under. Seraph's going to go ahead and use that TP to get himself back into top lane. Balls recently did the same, so both of these top laners' teleports not going to be available as we get close to this level 6 point.
Right, they're probably going to aim to sync those up with those ultimates for the bottom lane. As we talked about, man, those bottom lane champions will be explosive at level 6. Have to worry about jungle ganks at that point. Someone can die in the CC duration of either the Ashe Arrow or the Varus ultimate. So once those do hit and the AD carriers are closing in on that experience level, we'll transition down there. For the moment, though, Ninja is going to hover around mid lane. And some more wards being placed down for both junglers as, once again, each mid lane has a pink ward, one side to rely upon.
And notice how Hai is just letting Alex shove in now and then hanging out under his turret. He learned his lesson against those voidlings. He does not want to take a bite out of that again.
Yeah, definitely don't want to experience that one more time. We'll have to track as well how early he gets a QSS this game because now he's actually laning against the Malzahar.
Right.
And getting an early QSS really cuts into your damage. So it'll be an interesting choice to see if he actually does go for it super early on. Trinity Force is so important, and getting it before Trinity Force really delays your power spike.
Speaking of early items, I actually want to point out something that is interesting. Moon went ahead and grabbed Hex Drinker before any other items whatsoever. No Red Smite, no Warriors or anything like that. Really respecting the amount of AP damage on the enemy team.
Yeah, definitely makes a ton of sense against this team. All of the members do AP damage. Even the AD carry, Apollo here on Varus, packs a decent amount of magic damage that he is going to be doing. Ooh, will he push it out? Nope, push it out of the brush. Able to get the steal once again, and just like last game, escapes with the Blast Cone.
History repeats itself as Moon takes the Blast Cone Express over the wall, this time the Baron Wall instead of the Dragon Wall, and gets himself out, stealing away that red buff.
That Graves grind is taking its toll. Even though CS numbers are very disingenuous, let's say, this time around this season because some of the camps are overloaded like the Raptors and Krugs. He is at a experience lead and a gold lead over Ninja currently. Now, this could change if Elise is able to snipe him here, but so much time Elise is trying to create some action, trying to make something happen. This is what Graves does. Hard farms, eventually gets that experience and gold lead. Now he's 2 levels up, so much more damage. Plus, as you said, he already got that early Hex Drinker, so he's already getting fairly tanky, and has to use some of it here as he's in the mid lane farming up minions.
Yeah, definitely a very scary proposition dealing with that Graves that has the ultimate available. Of course, Elise not exactly having that same wallop when she hits level 6 like a lot of other champions do, so Ninja's going to have to be careful to watch out and think about these counter jungling opportunities and where Moon is going to be when he tries to make a play of his own.
Yeah, and it's actually already at that point where it's very difficult for him to really even answer if Moon goes in and he tries to bully for the 1v1. Meanwhile, Moon also has this Corki with package to rely on. Whenever your mid laner roams first, and Hai has been roaming very quickly, now that he's got an extra mobility spell, he'll get there very, very soon. And there's a lot of damage packed in that duo, even though they don't have a ton of crowd control.
Now, one thing that's worth pointing out, in game number 1, remember the early packages from Hai were not necessarily extremely successful.
Looking for a chunk here as he goes for the blue. Does get the chunk.
ADC.
It forced Ninja to also take the blue there. You see he didn't want to get it stolen. So Alex, not only did he get chunked out there and have to use a potion, but doesn't get the blue hand off. Hai didn't get his either because you know, he was chased out of lane and Moon just went ahead and took it, as Graves will do. Yep. I'm on my farm path. You're going to mess with my farming efficiency, then, you know, too bad for you. You're not here, then you don't get it.
Ball's getting kind of smacked around a little bit by Seraph right now, but considering this is Moakai versus Nautilus, he's not in the same kind of danger he was in last time, as Hai looks to get himself up here if he can, but the flash away from Seraph is enough to keep him alive.
Yep, gonna flash there. As soon as he sees that, Hai goes right back to mid lane, doesn't want to lose any minion. And so he's getting value out of his roams, even if he actually didn't get to convert on that gank. Does miss one there as he's trying to head back. But should be able to see us under turret. All right, Ninja back at it. He's down. Oh, he's face checking.
Oh, it's going to be both junglers. Here comes the play in bottom lane. Arrow finds its way onto Apollo. Stranglethorn's going to be cast as well. Ninja versus Moon. Still the 1v1 off the side. Altec killed first. Apollo's able to grab that kill. It's going to be Moon number 2. Lemon number 3. 3 for 0. Envy.
And Ninja actually outplays Moon in that exchange in the brush, dodging the Graves damage there. What a good repel. That's one of those things you really have to get used to and time it correctly. He was able to get to the other side. Plus then he sidestepped the ultimate as well. And Ninja, even though he's down experience, able to come out ahead in that one. Plus he had the roaming mid laner. Alex came through. Bottom lane victory there for Envy. And it actually is the complete opposite story this time around in this game. Hai going aggressive in mid lane, though.
This is such a different game from game number 1. 4-0 and over 3,000 gold lead. The first Drake going to be going their way. Yeah, it's still early on in the game. Yeah, we're only 11 minutes in, but everything is coming up. Envy, left, right, and center. They have got their heads on straight coming into game number 2.
And actually, for Team Envy, you talk about, yeah, low expectations a lot of people had coming in. The bottom lane was one of the really overlooked parts of this matchup. So this is Altec landing the arrow and flashed in from Lemonnation, but Hakuho and Apollo fire right back, landing their own combo, and they get the 2v2 kills while all that dodging I was talking about from Ninja occurred on the top side. Both plays happening simultaneously, and Envy won both confrontations. Good roam there by Alex each. We've been highlighting Hai's roams all game long, but this time around, Alex is having the time of his life.
2-0-0 on that Malzahar, 2-0-1 now on Apollo, having technically the best score on the team, but Ninja's repel really was dirty. He dodged the second part of the end of the line, walked out of the way of collateral damage, and now he's doing a good job for himself, just farming up this top part of the map, trying to stay close to Graves in terms of the economy department. But it's going to be Moon and Balls setting up some kind of a trap in here, stealing away the red buff. They might end up being able to find Ninja as well, but they're just going to get themselves out.
Yep, they've also got the roaming support of Lemonnation here to come, and he's dropping extra wards in this red quadrant of the jungle. Meanwhile, Hai's made the call. He's moving down bottom lane to go catch this minion wave. He pushed out mid lane first, so Hai's going to get quite a lot of minions while the rest of Fly are up here on the top side, and Seraph is taking a beating.
They unload
they nabbed
so much into him! You gotta be kidding me! Seraph taken down by FlyQuest. An awesome shot from Altec.
All right, they commit there with 4 people on the top side. While, as we said, High transitioned from the mid lane farm to bottom lane. Now he's back, and they're teleporting in for another pick.
Balls activating that TP, looking to make something happen this time onto Apollo. Exhaust comes down, Ball's gonna be stunned up. Exhaust backwards onto High. Dredgeline finds its way there, no way out, adios! Apollo falls, and High's gonna find himself his first kill of the game.
Looks like Hakuho is able to escape off the bottom side, and some reinforcements for EnVy coming down the mid lane. Alex definitely fed as well on the team, and he is coming to try and push down mid. Ninja makes his visit, but there's a lot of, wards scattered around that they're gonna have to do some cleaning here. Now EnVy actually getting their deep wards now, as Ninja moves into the red quadrant of FlyQuest jungle. It's gonna mess up Cloud9 FlyQuest so many times.
It just feels different.
Yeah.
It feels different to talk about High or Balls or Lemonnation on not Cloud9. But hey, man, it's FlyQuest now. They're getting themselves back into the game here. EnVy's lead now reduced down to about 1,500 gold. FlyQuest tying them up in terms of turrets as well, as EnVy this time looks to hopefully set that mid laner up with the blue buff, get him going the way he wants to be with that, enable some of that spell spam, and put him in a good spot for the next couple of minutes.
All right, so game still pretty close here, as FlyQuest were able to get back some gold with that top side play. We'll see who evens it up now, though. 1-to-1 in the turrets, and EnVy still holding on to a decent gold lead due to those early kills. Let's see if the top lane teleports come into play, because Balls is on cooldown right now, whereas Seraph could make a play on the bottom side where there's no turret. High currently sneaking into the brush, but just is going to hold off there, as the rest of EnVy look like they're collapsing on mid to make a play.
As EnVy sets up for this play, I want to go ahead and point out we're seeing a second Hex Drinker on the side of FlyQuest. High going to go ahead and purchase that before even completing the Trinity Force. But Seraph is the one who completes the first big item this game. Going to be going for Spirit Visage first and foremost. As the turret falls in mid lane, Ninja's going to be found by the arrow. Fly looking to grab some follow-up damage. Dredgeline right back into the fight. Balls looking to make it happen. Ulti from Alex each going to be used on that big tank. Seraph soaking as well. Both top laners so incredibly durable, as no one's going to be killed, and both teams disengage.
Yeah, those tanks are hitting their mid-game peak right now, and they take a lot of damage, but nobody going down.
Colossus, man.
Yeah, exactly. That, plus they've got a lot of their flat HP items already. Meanwhile, EnVy did get that turret, so their goal was accomplished for that move. They were able to get the extra turret, and currently that is going to increase their extra lead here as they go back to purchase. For the time, holding FlyQuest down.
Moon just farming up some of his own jungle here, continuing down that path you were talking about with Graves. Always just trying to maximize the economy, making sure you're getting as much gold and experience into your pockets as possible. Scale up as quickly as you can into that mid and late game monster that Graves is capable of being. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, with Runic Echoes and his Challenging Smite and a Haunting Guise completed, Ninja's not exactly going to be a slouch from the jungle either. Like, when he finds somebody, if he can land that cocoon and get that burst, he's going to put a lot of pain on.
Yeah, I really like the early pickup of Magic Penetration, but as you pointed out earlier, Hex Drinkers are being built super early on FlyQuest, so it does reduce a little bit of that effectiveness. Luckily for all of the early Magic Penetration users, the Locket of the Iron Solari was changed, so you don't get that aura that you have to deal with anymore. Meanwhile, though, EnVy, since they're so heavily stacked on magic damage, there's a lot of MR being built on FlyQuest independently by each of the members.
I trying to be careful down here in the bottom lane, looking to run away from Ninja if he can. Going to be forced to flash that cocoon. Ninja tries to make a play, but he does get it.
I mean, getting the flash, that is a play.
Yeah, okay, it's still a play. He doesn't get the kill. He doesn't get the play he was looking for. He still gets a good play.
True enough. Not quite the ending he was looking for, but does get the flash, and they immediately transition into this dragon. Looks like it's going to be a little bit hard. Oh, teleport is coming in. FlyQuest contest.
FlyQuest want to make this happen if they can. Drake down very low. Moon's going to be bursted. Has to run away. Going to be killed first. Alex each killing spree. Fly high right in the middle. Having to fly away. Altec now jumped on Apollo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shoots him down. 2 2 dead on the side of FlyQuest, and Envy take the fight.
Meanwhile, they're surviving on 50 HP, multiple members there. They're able to take the Drake afterwards as well. Couple of extra kills, and Envy are looking to make this a 3-game series.
Good stuff from Team Envy. They are not willing to roll over and die in game number 2, Kobe. These guys are really stepping up. They grabbed Drake number 2 for themselves. Not only Drake number 2, but last game we saw a garage sale of Drakes. This time it's double mount.
Exactly. Mountain Drakes will be important later on. But let's revisit this dragon fight. As Moon was going in for the steal, he gets ulted mid-dash right there and taken out immediately. So this is basically a 4v5 from that point. Hakuho almost got taken out in answer, but FlyQuest, the main problem here is desynced team fight. They had people coming up at different times. Their main tank, not only was Balls teleporting in, so you have to wait for the channel to complete, but he was also on the other side of the Dragon Pit. This is not the correct way to go about a team fight when you've got 3 AD carries on your team. They have to have these Nautilus right on the front lines and soaking up the skill shots there from Envy. Now they're getting teleported on, and Seraph is looking to pick high off.
This should be an easy pickup for Envy. They grab the enemy mid laner, totally free of charge. Fly, of course, trying to allow their mid laner to make some kind of a play. High wants to grab Hakuho on the way out, but he doesn't have the damage. As Balls is going to be pushing up down here in the bottom part of the map, trying to make something happen, just put down some pressure, make Envy have to answer something else. But Envy instead going to be deciding to rotate towards the top side, take down that tier 1 that's still standing over there, and continue to pile that global gold into their pockets.
Yep, take out the last top outer turret here. As you said, increasing the lead now 3-1 in the turrets, and they get a lot more map control with this. The wards are slowly moving up. They've been able to clear out all of FlyQuest wards on their side of the map, so the options are dwindling pretty quickly for FlyQuest. As we said, they need to make moves where Nautilus is on the front line, protecting those triple DPS from the back line. Even quadruple, actually, is Lemon on the Zyra, definitely a DPS as well that needs protecting. So if they don't have that point man, the front man, they just get annihilated there on the back line, as all the crowd control we talked about from Envy will shine against squishy targets without Nautilus in front.
And that is a lot of weight on Balls' shoulders. He's got to make sure he's always putting himself between these two teams to make sure they don't get run over like that. Spirit Visage now completed on both of these top laners, both of them almost at the 200 farm mark. Morello Namicon plus Void Staff done on Alex each means that he's going to be doing a lot of damage whenever he catches out, as now it's going to be Balls, the one who's jumped on Alex each, now under pressure. High looking to make the moves. Exhaust is used. One more rocket might be able to find him, but High is silenced up. Ninja goes up into the air, repels down, flashes over, and he's still going to be killed. Strangle Thorns as a zoning tool. Seraph going to be tanking up everyone. Hakuho and Apollo trying to come in from the side. High's going to be fighting. Has to jump back over the wall. Seraph still tanking. Are you kidding me? There comes your ulti from the Nautilus. Going to be forcing him away. End of the day. 1 for 0.
What a Moakai highlight right there. Seraph was literally 1v3ing the FlyQuest members and chasing them off, as the rest of his DPS was all cut off by Zyra, the Stranglethorns, the zoning from Lemonnation and High there. And Seraph was almost able to make a play all by himself, but ends up they do have to abort mission, and it's only the 1 kill after all of that action in the Envy jungle. Let's take a look at how it started. Now, Malzahar ultimate, as you know, does percentage health damage, so it is very good to ult tanks. Definitely viable. Yeah, ulting switches is great, but ulting tanks also an option. The thing is, High, instant response to go interrupt the ultimate. Jumps in there with the package, and it looks very good for FlyQuest, as this time they're all grouped up. Moon hits the ultimate over the wall as Lemonnation uses that zoning on the left here, you can see, and High trying to lay down some cover fire to force Apollo off, but there is Seraph. He gets out the summoner spell in the 1v3 and is able to flash away at the end as well.
That was absolutely incredible. The amount of damage soaked by that Moakai. Damage in the last team
and
fight.
damage done.
Showing on your screen right now, yeah. So much damage put out by High in that fight. 2,000 also done by Moon. Those two, the two big swingers coming out from the side of FlyQuest. You didn't actually see a lot of damage come from the bottom lane of FlyQuest. Weren't able to get themselves in there the way they wanted to, but with how many health bars were blinking, at the end of that fight, just a little bit more damage from either side could have told a very different story.
Definitely true. And we talked about, we actually prefaced, what will FlyQuest look like when they're behind? The classic high shot calling from behind. Are they going to be able to maneuver and get these outer turrets? Yes, they're behind in gold, but they're standing gold in these turrets that EnVy have on the outer rim. And those actually will topple pretty easily. The mid turret especially is quite low at the moment. The problem is their 5-on-5 team fight is being attacked from all sides with this EnVy squad, and EnVy have performed pretty well in the last couple team fights. Plus, that double mountain that you mentioned earlier really puts pressure on sneaking Baron. So vision control around Baron pays off very big for Team EnVy because they can burn that thing down.
Team EnVy now, you are going to see them putting down some wards around that top part of the map in the upper side of the jungle on the side of FlyQuest. Want to make sure they're at least keeping an eye over that entire area. So if they ever do get the chance to pull that trigger, boom, they're right on it.
All right, and Alex, one of the guys we're highlighting this game right along with Apollo. These two carries for EnVy on the backside that have a lot of damage. Alex is on a pretty good spike here, with the double completed items, looking for the super early Void Staff due to all these rushed Hex Drinkers and Spirit Visage from the members of FlyQuest. And he's also got 5 stacks for himself since he has yet to go down in this game.
Both AD carries also starting to get there in terms of their strength. 4-1-2 compared to 0-2-2. A lot stronger Apollo is when you compare him to Altec. Lemonnation's going to be bursted. Can't get himself away from anything. Seraph's going to be jumping in. Altec too. Falls bound up. The suppress keeps him locked down. Seraph will not stop. He is a force of nature at this point. High having to get himself away. It's going to be Moon killed next. Balls still alive. High running. Tries to get away using the blast cone. Going to be aggroing the red buff for some reason. Another blast cone may just take him out of there. Can't quite find his way out just yet. Looking to take one with him. No, sir. 4 dead on the side of FlyQuest. EnVy again finds success.
He doesn't quite get the right angle on that blast cone, so not been able to make it over the dragon wall. It would have just been a delay, and he would have been able to kind of run them on a bit longer of a race, but does end up going down there. And man, EnVy, full steam ahead. They just run straight over FlyQuest. Seraph's actually not done here as he tries to chase balls down.
Seraph is just totally fearless on this Maokai. And what do you have to be afraid of when you cannot die? His build, too, he's got the Spirit Visage, but instead of that traditional Sunfire cape that we usually see on Maokai's, Frozen Heart has kind of been the item of choice for him.
Yeah, I mean, Frozen Heart is super popular, super good on Maokai. Gives him all the stats that he does need. Cooldown reduction is amazing on him. The aura is so good against triple AD carries on the enemy team, so definitely expected and definitely good pickup for him. He's super duper tanky at this moment, and that's just what they need. That snare on the front line, they can't get past him. Siege here actually going a little bit awry for FlyQuest as Balls takes most of his health.
Balls in some trouble. Ninja in even more. Altec going to be credited with that kill. FlyQuest, although they do not find that tier 1 they were wanting, instead they're going to be finding the enemy jungler as High has got the package locked in and raring to go. Enemy tier 1 turret down to about 10% HP. It's only going to take potentially 2 auto attacks here if one's enchanted with the Trinity Force, and they can bring that down.
Yeah, rough for the 1v3 to pull out that tower kill, but the momentum now swinging a little back in favor. They got that kill. They do have a lot of vision here for FlyQuest set up, but EnVy still holding onto this gold lead, still very ready to pull the trigger. As you talk about, Seraph has, no worries about running straight into this squad. Full tank build from him, and it's definitely paying off.
Aegis of the Legion going to be built next on Balls, likely going towards that locket so we can have that extra shielding potential for the rest of the team. But it's High who's caught out in bottom lane, the ulti into the Twisted Embrace, and Seraph picks up kill number 2.
Nice little trade there from EnVyUs. Their mid lane was super low already, so they kind of expected it to go down in the near future, and instead go for the extra kill here to pick up on High, grabbing another one for themselves. See if they can actually move into fight that vision fight around Baron here, though, because FlyQuest are weak.
FlyQuest being very, very stealthy, looking for Hakuho to face check. They're going to be finding him. Balls will soak the damage on the front line. TP is going to be used. Seraph wants in. Ninja's gonna be bursted, runs away. Apollo almost dies, not quite yet. Ninja goes next, 2 dead for Envy. High is still dead from before, but he's about to come back to life. Seraph soaks so much damage, but it's not gonna be enough just yet. Barely getting himself away. Envy loses the fight. A great trap set up by FlyQuest.
And he's not the only one that barely got away. A couple of members from Envy also sent back to the fountain, in addition to the ones that actually were sent to the graveyard. So that means FlyQuest, they move in with the redemption heal. Actually, that was the wrong redemption to go take this Baron, as Envy actually are fighting it, and High gets a kill.
What in the heck is going on with that one? Alex each getting himself popped. Can't do anything to stop this just yet. Apollo might be hanging around looking to make a miracle steal. Nope, not gonna be happening. Instead, it's Altec who grabs FlyQuest.
Vision always pays off here. FlyQuest, they spent 3 pink wards to get this Fog of War. Look how scary it is for Envy to face check this, and their squishy members are the ones face checking. Immediately delete one, and even though the teleport comes in from Seraph, those longer teleport times, look at Moon on the top side. He's chasing off 3 members right now, gets the burn damage so he knows that Ninja's gonna go down, doesn't overcommit, and then can turn onto Seraph and take down that super tanky Moakai. 4 versus 1, not gonna like those odds, and he's gonna have to flash out and recall. Plus, he teleported into that fight, so he couldn't get back to the Baron. That was a good follow-up call to then force Baron, and it also gave them more kills. So FlyQuest are able to really turn it around here in the mid-game. We're gonna have to track, though, what they get out of this Baron power play, because Envy are now lying in wait themselves.
Envy gonna be setting the same trap FlyQuest did, but it's Balls and Seraph on the front lines. Alex each thrown up into the air, juggled around like the sideshow at the circus, man. Seraph's gonna be next. So much damage poured into that Moakai. Just a little bit more takes down the Guardian Angel. High's gonna be looking for more off to the side. Seraph comes back to life, but it is not going to matter. 2 for 0, FlyQuest marching down the mid lane.
Oh, it's a tragedy for Envy there. Yeah, they did try and counter there and set up another vision play, but Balls, the tank, is the one who's face checking for FlyQuest. That's the one who you want to be taking the damage, and it just went all according to plan. They had the Baron buff, so much extra damage there, and Envy, not only did they lose the team fight, GA was just purchased on Seraph, immediately goes on cooldown. So they lost a tremendous amount in the last 5 minutes here. And FlyQuest, even though they got behind early, pulling it back around with vision control and strong team fighting.
And they take the inhib for it. Here's how it all went down one more time.
All right, so as we said, this is the man you want to face check. Plus, they have a hawk shot going over anyways. FlyQuest fully expecting this one. Even running straight into that Stranglethorns. Both tanks try and kite back a little bit. Altec flashes into the rest of his team. Good escape there, and too much focus fire there. They're able to burn down the tank first, and Seraph gets abandoned because there's no way you recover the team fight at that point. They are forced to recall in enemy territory and give up that inhibitor.
And look at the damage in that last team fight again. It's going to be High at the top of the charts. Apollo a very close second, though, and it's Zyra, the second biggest damage side on the side of FlyQuest.
And the standout bar from that little graph that we just showed, Alex, 160-something damage you got to see from the Malzahar, the mid laner, because he got blasted so early on. And FlyQuest now really getting a lot out of this Baron buff as they siege again.
It's going to be Seraph starting this fight off. Balls underneath the turret. Not tanky enough to soak that for very long. Seraph's going to be bursted down yet again, though. A rampage for High. Ninja goes in, has to repel himself out, and High is flying all over the place. Killing spree, double kill. FlyQuest has found 4. A triple kill for Moon.
Oh, and he stays alive too because his teammates kill the turret before it can get that last shot off. FlyQuest, this is going to be them into the base, getting another inhibitor turret down.
This game was looking so good for so long for Envy, but FlyQuest have turned things around.
Nice time.
Moon gets taken out. Apollo doing what he can to defend. Falls so very low, but High jumps in and grabs the kill as Lemon, Balls, and High, the 3 age-old members of the NALCS, will end game number 2 unless Hakuho and Seraph can somehow stop them. It looks like they will. Balls is gonna be jumped on, activates the shield, and he is just spider food, man. No, he's got another one.
He takes a while. He's just playing with his food a little bit.
He's got another one. He's got another one. All right. So
I feel bad for you. EnVy put a stop to your little Three Amigos ending there.
I had the perfect ending. All right. Anyway, here's the fight. Here's how they did it.
All right. Well, this is the Siege with the Baron buff, and actually, really nice focus here from EnVy. They get a lot of damage onto Balls, and they force him out. He does flash, though, and then it's a turnaround right onto Seraph. All of this range DPS here from Fly. They do trade Seraph and actually get the kill onto Altec, but man, High saves the team fight here with his package, just annihilating the squishy members of EnVy after Moakai got burned down. And then, yeah, there's the zoom in there on Moon as they were able to just barely kill that last turret before it executed him. So that was a much closer team fight than the resulting base from EnVy now would tell the story of. But man, FlyQuest have been able to just pry their way right back into this game, and they've got now a pretty sizable lead.
5,500 gold, the advantage for FlyQuest over their opponents, and one more big fight loss like that, one more team fight where you go 1 for 4, it's game over, and EnVy's going to be taken down. They've got to realize they are on the last leg. If there is any time for a miracle defense, it's going to be right now, as Baron will be live in just a little bit over a minute, and Elder Drake is going to be the next one on the board as well.
Exactly. If you're FlyQuest, you have a lot of tools at your disposal at this moment. Balls does have his teleport available. He's feeling very confident on the Nautilus, but since he's so important with the squishy members of this team, he's sticking with the 4-man squad instead of being the split pusher, and they're using High to control both of the other lanes. He pushes up on the bottom side, and then he goes over to usher along these super minions and then converge on EnVy. EnVy, yeah, they have to, you know, pull out some sort of vision play or something. They're hoping that High runs by that brush and they can snag him and get a free kill.
We've seen the trap work 2 different times for 2 different teams so far this game. EnVy's hoping they can be magic number 3. High walks by, but he's walking by on the other side of the wall. Seraph wants to catch this, but instead going to be rotating back with the rest of the team towards top. This is the last standing inhibitor turret, but High is bottom. He's going to be working on this inhibitor itself. Those Trinity Force procs will do a lot of work on this. Alex Each going to go ahead and drop some of the Voidlings. High's going to take care of those very quickly on his own as the push continues in top side. Red inhibitor respawning mid lane. Drops on the bottom part of the map.
And time is not working in EnVy's favor. It's a really difficult situation to be in where you have these super minions flooding in, and FlyQuest have all the time in the world to take another inhibitor and get both. So EnVy pull the trigger.
Here goes the fight. Ball's going to be jumped on. Seraph's in the front lines as well. Ninja off to the side, going to be gunned down by High. Seraph dropping very quickly. Alex Each first. It's going to be Apollo second. Altec's got the kill. Goodbye, Seraph. Goodbye, EnVy. That's what I'm talking about. FlyQuest, they got the double. They've got the game. I will not be denied my ending this time, and they are going to take it 2-0.
Ninja has something to say about it at the end, but a little bit too late. Nexus does go down, and congratulations to FlyQuest. First series victory for that team. You know, it is a rough go for EnVy. You have to feel for the team. Again, they come into the season and they have to deal with a substitute. But, you know, things in the second game definitely looked up from the first game for them. So moving forward, they will be able to, you know, count on some improvements.
Absolutely. Going in with a substitute, especially one that also displaces one of your main roster players, it's a very difficult situation for anyone to have to play through. EnVy's going to have a lot more to work with in future weeks. And FlyQuest, though, made a good impression week number 1.
They definitely did. You know, high shot calling is still there. The gameplay is still definitely there from a lot of these members. And really admirable series from them. Able to have a stomping game 1 and then a comeback victory in game 2. Dealing with adversity, you know, through that vision control. It was all about the vision play around Baron. That's where EnVy lost control of the game. Face checking with the squishies, And Cloud9 really took that and ran with it.
And we were even talking about between the games, right? What about High? What about that comeback potential? How does he play from behind?
I keep saying Cloud9!
Yeah, but
FlyQuest.
But FlyQuest, yeah, FlyQuest and High. How can they play from behind? How can they do this when they're not off to that phenomenal start? And High just said, you guys want to know? Here it is. That was beautiful. Phenomenal.
Oh, I thought you were throwing to an interview or something.
No, we're not going to an interview. We're presenting it to the camera and to the audience because High just showed all of us in sparkling style exactly how you come back.
Wait in this bush.
Yeah.
Vision control.
Everybody
fog of war.
sit here. Don't move. And get them.
That's actually what I tell like when I'm playing with lower elo friends and they get really discouraged when you're down in gold. You're just like, don't worry, the enemy team will make a mistake here, right? Because so many times, you know, people will. You have to be so diligent about controlling vision and the risks that you take. If you don't have your tank, meaning the one face checking, then things like this can happen and it can turn right around on you. We could see even when EnVy tried to pull the same trick, you know, and they're waiting in the bush. FlyQuest, they've got their tank on the front line. They've got their hawk shot flying over, so they're fully prepared for it. And they took back-to-back team fights. That's all that they needed to get back into the game and take this one.
It was a phenomenal comeback to watch. It really was. FlyQuest showcased that they know not just what to do to win a game outright, but to take a losing game, not get discouraged, not get tilted, because sometimes you can see those kind of mental factors play into a game, especially in a series, right? You can see players kind of have a little bit of a rough time when things go sour. They didn't. They stayed strong, they stayed the course, and they ended up finding what turned out to be a spectacular victory.
And that's what comes with these veteran players. So definitely congratulations to them. Now, for more on that series, we're going to head to the stage where Freak is standing by with FlyQuest's victorious mid laner.
Thank you very much. I am here with